For most people, water and warmth are, well, mortal enemies. Wet clothing chills the body, soaked bedding invites misery, and rain-soaked gear feels like a survival nightmare. Yet, long before modern synthetics, ancient peoples discovered a fibre that could hold warmth even when soaked. This isn't a myth or exaggeration. Archaeological studies and historical texts confirm it. Learning how these fibres were used can honestly revolutionize the way we think about outdoor survival, wet weather preparedness, and even backyard experiments. Why ancient people needed fibres that stayed warm when wet. In regions where rain, snow and dew were constant, staying dry wasn't always possible. Hunters, soldiers and travellers had to endure long nights in wet conditions. You see, ordinary animal or plant fibres lost their insulating ability when soaked, leaving wearers, well, vulnerable to hypothermia. Yet some fibres, through their structure and composition, managed to resist this problem. Societies that mastered these fibres honestly gained a survival edge in harsh environments. So, let's talk about how these fibres actually manage to trap heat, even when they're saturated. The secret, really, lies in their structure and porosity. Fibres, like certain types of wool, coir and plant bast, have these microscopic air pockets that stay at least partially intact, even when the fibres are wet. These tiny pockets help trap heat, and, well, they reduce convective cooling. Additionally, some fibres contain natural oils that actually repel water. This slows down absorption and, as a result, allows the fibre to retain its insulation properties for a longer period of time. It's really a combination of mechanical structure and chemical properties that makes a fibre resilient to moisture. Now, modern outdoor gear often overlooks the lessons learned from ancient fibres. Synthetic fabrics like polyester or nylon, well, they do excel at drying quickly, but they really don't always retain heat when wet. Modern wool blends, on the other hand, can be rather expensive and, quite frankly, are sometimes treated with chemicals that actually reduce water absorption. Ancient fibres, you see, demonstrate that material selection and processing are just as critical as technology itself. Understanding how to work with raw fibres, layering them effectively, and maintaining their natural insulating qualities can honestly offer us advantages even today. So, I wanted to share how I experimented with recreating ancient fibre insulation. I began with raw fibres from natural sources, including untreated wool and bast fibres from flax and hemp. Instead of weaving or felting them into modern textiles, I allowed them to retain their natural crimp and air-trapping properties. I then soaked samples in water, wrapped them around containers of warm water, and measured temperature retention. The fibres significantly outperformed conventional wet cloths, actually holding warmth for hours. Layering and the density of fibres really do amplify insulation. Ancient peoples didn't rely on just a single fibre strand. Instead, they cleverly combined layers to trap air between them. For practical backyard application, layering wet plant fibres or untreated wool between your clothing or bedding can, well, dramatically increase warmth, even when it's rainy out. It's a simple principle, really. Each layer slows heat loss, and the trapped air acts as insulation. Why did fibre treatment matter as much as the fibre itself, you might wonder? Well, historical sources indicate that some fibres were treated with oils, animal fats, or minimal processing techniques. This was done to maintain flexibility and water resistance, you see. These treatments, they allowed fibres to retain loft, resist matting, and hold heat longer. Quite fascinating, isn't it? Now, modern survivalists can mimic this approach by lightly treating natural fibres with beeswax or lanolin. This creates a durable insulation that works even when wet. A little bit of ancient wisdom for today's adventurers, indeed. So, let's talk about how this knowledge can actually be used in modern survival and backyard scenarios. For outdoor enthusiasts, ancient wet-resistant fibres can, supplement or even replace synthetic insulation in emergencies. Wet wool blankets, coir mats and layered bast fibres can provide a surprising amount of warmth in improvised shelters. And in backyard experiments, testing how different natural fibres retain heat when wet can really guide future preparation strategies. Everything from DIY sleeping pads to insulating plant protection during a sudden frost. The science behind heat retention in soaked fibres, well, it helps explain why certain bedding and clothing systems have stood the test of time. By understanding that heat loss in wet fibres occurs primarily through conduction and convection, we see why, air pockets and water-repellent surfaces matter. Why studying these fibres gives insight into historical survival practices. Beyond immediate practical benefits, examining wet-resistant fibres reveals the ingenuity of past societies. Their choices weren't random. They were informed by generations of observation and experimentation. This knowledge really does help modern enthusiasts appreciate the science behind survival, and it inspires better preparation and smarter use of natural resources. So you're ready to start experimenting safely with these fibres today, are you? Well, begin by collecting small samples of natural fibres such as wool, flax or hemp. Then test their heat retention by wrapping containers of warm water or small heat sources with these wet fibres. Observe how the temperature drops over time. It's quite fascinating, really. Now, let's try layering different combinations, shall we? Lightly treat those fibres with natural oils and compare the results. These experiments can be done right in your backyard. It's a wonderful way to gain an educational and practical understanding of ancient survival strategies. If this guide has helped you rethink how materials, moisture and warmth interact, why not subscribe to the Backyard Wisdom channel? Go on, you'll find it quite enlightening. Do share this with fellow survivalists, outdoor enthusiasts and history-minded gardeners. They might want to learn lessons from the past that actually work today. You see, ancient wet-resistant fibres weren't just clever, they were life-saving. And they still hold secrets that modern gardeners and survivalists can use. Quite remarkable, isn't it?